townsfolk are scandalised by naked tots in the streets. This puppet show is a concession to the passive society of infants, as yet unsullied by the excesses of rabid capitalism and the ravages of the work ethic. But where have all the Frisians gone? 20 years ago, this dairy factory churned out its business. Aquarius has taken it over, and now it's a temple of spontaneity. But it's hard to stop the habit of sitting and listening. All this is not in the spirit of the Doing Festival. The Blue Moon Cafe invites you to a vegetarian supper and corporate consciousness. Everywhere there's so much pressure to be together.
I'm quite worried about my children and in that they are in while the Aquarius are here.
Mrs. Ollie is a local farmer's wife. She says they've spoilt the town. They don't even know the meaning of the word conventional.
Now, my daughter went up to a friend's place and they went to the park, and one of the Aquarius girls, she started speaking on Hinduism, Buddhism, and all isms, my daughter told me, which I didn't feel was right. And if they want to have their festival, maybe keep to themselves. And because they're making out they're taking over the town. And
how has that inconvenienced you on a day-by-day basis? How has the Aquarius interrupted your life?
Well, you can't find a parking spot to start with when you go uptown, all their vehicles. And they're wanting to come through our land, and my husband has it all planted down with pastures, and they're quite annoyed about that because they can't come through.
What about your shopping and things like that?
Well, mainly I go to Lismore, do my main shopping, and but the bakery, I believe, has been leased to the Aquarius, and the locals are going to be supplied by from Lismore with bread.
You wouldn't eat the bread they made?
I had tried once, give anything a go once, and but I wasn't happy and I haven't bought more.
But don't you agree, Mrs. Ollie, that if Nimbin gets the sort of publicity that Aquarius is bound to bring it, that will mean that perhaps young people from this area will come back to live here once more?
Well, apparently a lot of the Aquarius is going to stop, and if they'd have came and they'd have gone, perhaps everyone would have been happy. But we've had them around, you know, going back 6 weeks or more already, and they quite openly say that they're going to stay on.
Well, they have bought land and shops and houses.
This is right, yes.
And you don't like that?
Well, our children are going to grow up in that environment, and they don't believe in their children going to school, and it's a generation that's going to be affected.
So what you're saying then, that these counterculture people really are threatening your way of life in some way?
That would be, yes.
And you're fearful for the future?
That's right, yes. as far as hygiene goes, they don't know the meaning of the word. And
is there nothing about them at all that you admire? Their relaxed attitude to life and their seeming happiness anyway?
well, maybe I'm square, but apparently they're on drugs. They're openly admitting that. And maybe that's where you get all your laughs from.
Nimbin these days is really like a wayward scout jamboree. The tourist traffic, magnetised by tales of bare-breasted girls and orgies down by the riverside, should get their money back. The festival is as much about toilets as anything. At least that's Sam Dunstan, the chief guru of Aquarius.
Well, right from the beginning, we've set out to create an anti-consumer festival with the idea that the festival is what people make it. And right now, my contribution's drains. So the festival's about drains.
It seems to be going very well. The townspeople are taking the whole thing tremendously well, and
yes,
no hassles.
It's quite an adventure for them. Oh, we have our ups and downs. So.
What are they?
Oh, people getting busted for growing dope in the hills, swimming naked in the creek, you know.
Heinous.
Usual
heinous,
things.
Yes. What's the mood like, do you think, as far as the Aquarius people are concerned? I mean, do they feel relaxed here? And
Oh, well, the people that I, you know, the drain diggers and the toilet makers and the showers, they're people that are pretty well drained of energy, because when it comes to getting anything done, are people that actually get down to it. So if you've been here for 4 weeks digging drains 6 days a week or doing whatever, it gets you down. You just feel exhausted. And you can't sit around the cafe and enjoy it. But the feeling's still here when people arrive at the town for the first time and take in the scenery and see the potentials of what's happening. They get very high about it and very enthusiastic. So the enthusiasm's there. It's just left me flowing in the drains. As I
do you think that the townspeople have got any idea about what counterculture means, what opting out by non-consuming means?
No, they don't really.
Does it matter that they don't?
Well, when we started planning the festival, we started looking for a site. Now, our initial idea was that we should go somewhere where we didn't have this sort of interaction with the so-called straight people, that we could build a festival in a community with a minimum sort of interactions from the straights. And then we came across the idea of Nimbin, and our thinking changed, and we thought, well, look, you know, why should we try and run away from this sort of interaction? Surely this is part of the growth of the community.
You don't feel the townspeople owe you something because you've given them something?
I'm another learning process. I'm constantly aware just how money brings out the worst in people.
This is the Aboriginal reserve type of thing, and there's people coming from New Zealand out here too, about 120 or something tomorrow.
No, hang on, it's more than that, 620.
620?
That's what I heard.
Oh, well.
I'd never even heard of this place before I came up here. I met someone on the road who told me about it, and I came up to have a look. I planned to spend a day, and I spent a week, probably 3 weeks by the time I finished.
Where do you come from?
England.
But you're just travelling around Australia?
Yeah, I'm moving around Australia for a year, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what, just tell me how it grabs you though, really. What's particular about the place?
Oh, the people. Mainly the people. That's the first thing that hit me as soon as I came here, the people.
And when the festival is over, some hundreds plan to stay on and make a living out of cash crops and handicrafts, under the gaze, perhaps, of a yogi sitting on Nimbin rocks.